building. High priestess in the building, didn't let my fears kill me. Transmuted my pain in that cleanse in the rain. Down out, I was working and I conquered my demons. I accepted my purpose and the goddess I became. All right, so good morning. I have a whole other intro, so we're gonna pass that. But I'm gonna go ahead and jump in it for you guys to just kind of state who you are, what you do. I'll look at Ashley. We'll start and we'll go around. Just introduce yourself to the viewers.
All right. I'm Ashley. So I do shadow integration coaching and spiritual guidance, which is basically helping people understand, why they're attracting certain situations, repeating patterns in their life, and what kind of energy they're putting out that is making for a less than notable experiences.
Okay. Joe?
How's it going, everyone? My name's Joe. I go by the name A Millennial's Third Eye. I have a Facebook page and other things, but I do psychic intuitive readings. I help a lot of people with metaphysical energy, emotional, as well as Ashley. And there's a lot of different things. So I help people spiritually with my guides, but I also help them a lot with timelines, navigation of self-alignment and your higher self, and also being free to be yourself is a big topic these days. So I do that too.
Awesome. All right, and Kyle.
Hello, everybody. My name is Kyle. I'm not in this realm of spiritual healing, but I'm 31 years old. I work at Chrysler on the assembly line and recently divorced, so a single father. And that's about it.
Awesome. And, today we are going to get into not only dating in 2022, right? I wanted to cover was unrealistic women's requirements in dating, right? Because we know, and I actually agree with a lot of this. So it's funny because I actually agree with a lot of this, but we got to talk about it because I feel like a lot of women come with very unrealistic expectations in dating, right? And so we're going to start with that. I do want to start with the men's point of view. I know Ashley is going to chime in with some views, and we can agree on some of this, but I do want to start with what is just, if you look at that title, unrealistic demands from women, where would you start on that point?
You want to go first, Joe?
We might as well start somewhere, right? We got to do this the right way somehow. So I think for me, and I also am very empathic in a way where I see both sides or I have empathy. So, but I think where it really starts with is the topic of perception, right? So I think women have a certain goal and method, maybe similar to all, where this is how it should be done, or this is not saying like how it should be done, but this is the time frame. There's an imagination of how it works for them or you. And I think men, it has a similarity, but it's not the same methods. But there is flaws to us men as well. So we're not perfect.
All right. Kyle, what you got? Did you lose audio?
It's like one of those things where it's like I'm gonna opt out and pretend I'm frozen.
You might want to go out and come back in because I can't hear you at all. You might have lost it. Sometimes it happens when you might want to put your phone on do not disturb or something.
Oh, I might do that too, actually.
Yeah, you might want to jump out and then. I can clip this part.
I think it's also one of those realistic things, though. It's like, be prepared, and then we try to do our best at times,
right?
And technology just gets us.
It is. Technology is. We want it to be perfect, and we want it to be on point, but it has flaws, like everything, right?
Yeah.
Well, I did the update on my phone, and now my do not disturb. I can't find it, so I can't turn it off. It is what it is. Somebody might call through.
Okay. Like my camera's doing some weird shit also. Can you hear us?
Yeah, I'm sorry about that. Something happened.
You're good. It happens.
Yeah.
All right. So unrealistic women's demands.
Yeah. I mean, it is a crazy world to be a single father out here. Just to be a single man, like the world's expectations of what a man is supposed to be are a little bit crazy. Like they want you to be 6'5", 10 foot or 10-inch dick. And you want to be able to last long. You don't want to come too fast. When you take a girl on a date, you're expected to be the entertainment to make the moment memorable. And there's so much prejudgment that goes on before you even sit down with the girl at the table. Like, you're being judged as soon as you pull up in your car. You're being judged on the music that's being played on the way there. I mean, it's like a lot of expectations are put on the man to, make the night memorable. And it's like so much pressure, but it's like a girl can be a shitty date too. You can sit down with a girl who has absolutely no personality and you guys just don't connect. And it's not a good connection. And, the next thing you know, you're being talked about as, he was a terrible guy, he was a dog, he was this, he was that. So I just think
I'm going to touch that, what you say about the expectations of dates, but I'm going to talk about it a little bit down. But Ashley, what do you think of that before I?
Okay. So the first thing, and I think this might just be my profession coming through, but I want to say, like, what kind of girls are you attracting that really are caring so much about your car and your 10-inch dick? Because I go on a date and I want to make sure that somebody knows how to have communication skills. They're confident in themselves. I don't care. Like, personally, you could just own a bike and be like, I don't like polluting the air, and I'm okay with that. You know what I mean? I think you have to really ask yourself what type of clientele you're attracted to.
Right. I'm going to be a little bit devil's advocate here because there are very few women, and I have to be honest with what I see because, I have to look at a lot of content and stuff there's very few women who don't go by the rules of what is the man's shoe. I've heard women say, like, they'll look at a man's pair of shoes and be like, nope, can't date him. I remember this one girl at work. She was like, oh, I went on a date. And I was like, okay, how was he? Because that's what I care about. How was he? Was he nice? Oh, yeah, he was nice. He did this. He took me out. But, and I'm like, okay, what's the but? Like, it's going to be bad. He was wearing Skechers. And it was like, okay. He was wearing Skechers. Like, so fucking what? That was it. It was over. And I was just talking about this earlier because I feel like, unfortunately, a lot of women, unfortunately, we are taught to look at these things in so many different ways, which I think it's shitty because you could be a woman who doesn't come with anything into a relationship, but there is an expectation that the men have to have certain things. So I have to agree with a lot of that because although I'm like you, Ashley, I don't give a fuck what you make. That doesn't impress me. You're watching all that shit I don't care about, but there's not many women out here like that, unfortunately.
I feel like the more spiritual groups that I get into, the more I am seeing that, though. The people who are actually doing the work. I mean, yes, that is rare. When you look at the whole world, you're going to have a handful of people. But when you are on that level and that vibration and you're surrounding yourself with people like that, that's all you see. Like for me and my friends, that's all I see these days, unless I go out of my realm.
Right.
But you have to put yourself in, you have to be what you're looking for. So you have to put yourself in places where you're going to find women who work on themselves and who are not shallow. And I know I said the thing about the bike, but there is a difference. Like, yeah, I need to know that my partner is financially responsible. That doesn't need to mean he needs to make $1 million. But if he chooses, it needs to be like, I have a bike, not a car, because I want that. I prefer that, not because I don't want to work and I have no, plans to help support a family. It's an equal exchange. The woman and the man both have to have that. Mm-hmm. So yeah, you're going to find a woman who wants to make sure you're responsible, but not necessarily wanting you to pay for everything and you put all the effort in while she just sits back.
I like that Ashley's bringing in the spiritual point of views because I agree with what she's saying as well. But for me to have gotten to where Ashley is saying when she's like, which her opinion is about dating, for me to have like aligned up with her, right? I had to go through my shit. And my shit, it was kind of sad and funny at the same time because it was actually really sad. It was a narcissistic relationship. And which was sad is actually my spiritual side was like, oh, I know about this, but then I really didn't consciously know about it or experience it. So I did, and I had to go through my own healing journey, and it's not always like that. But it's interesting, even in the spiritual dating, like they want to know if you're healed right away. Like if there's certain levels to it. Like you line up, like what have you healed? What have you? And then you can line up and start to have the same things, which is still not good because you don't want to have the same of sames. But then we have the egotistical spiritual people who are like, I'm spiritual and I got a crystal. But I've been there, you know, like I get it. So I had to go through a really rough patch to get to connect with like-minded because I wasn't aware I wasn't really like-minded. I was looking for myself. I wasn't seeing the reflections in the mirror. So, but I also like what Kyle said, because as a guy, we tend to have that similar insecurity of like, I don't have a 10-inch dick, but I'm cool with my size. I haven't had it. Like you go through these little moments, and they're not just sex. It's this I believe it's like this inner being of, am I good enough for this? And we have high expectations of this like huge outcome. And I still fail at that at times because of like where I want my dreams to be, and then I have to let go of it. And so we're hoping like it's gonna all come one day, and it will, but it's a lot of work on individual. It's not just men or women, but I do again agree with Kyle, because it sucks sometimes. There is this little nervousness really about, okay, is this going to be a waste of time on going out, or is it going to be good? And we never know until we experience it, and that's all we can do is be comfortable to be yourself and grow.
I'm going to tell you guys, like on some real shit. Now, I'm a woman in her 40s. The women who give a shit about the size are not experienced women. Okay. Most women do not want 10 inches. I'm going to be very fucking honest with you. Ashley, like real shit. Most women with experience do not want to get plowed with 10 inches. I'm sorry. If you are not a fucking porn star, you do not want to get that. Okay.
Now I was working and I conquered my demons. I accepted my purpose and the goddess I became.